Today we are taking a look at IV Studio Games' Scales of Fate. Now, this game plays out in the same universe as Wheels of Fate, but this is a standalone game, meaning that you do not need the other game to play this game. This game here is a two-player game, where two players are trying to figure out who the other player is playing as a demigod. Now, this is a deduction game, and in this video I am going to show you a quick little setup here, but also what this game is all about. But the game I have here in front of me is a prototype. It's a well-made prototype, just like all of IV Studio Games are. But it is still a prototype, meaning that some things might change until you get the game on your table. During setup, each player will get 2 demigods at random. Now, these 2 demigods should of course be kept secret from the other player. But these are the 2 demigods that you represent. During setup, we will also flip over one of these H cards at random. Now, these here will determine how the setup out on the board will look like. Here we have the different action tiles that are put out according to this card, but also the different quest tokens. Again, they are put out faced down at the start of setup, and once we have placed out all of them, we flip them over to reveal their side. Now, if we look at these H cards, we can see a name in the top, but we can also see H1, because these cards are divided into 3 different ages, and of course we start in H1. We can also see a text. This is this card's card criteria. Because the end of an age, players will announce if any of the demigods fit this criteria, with simply saying a yes or a no. Below this, we can see guides where to place the quest. Like I showed you before, this is simply where we place out the quest tiles. And again, we have all the action tiles and where they should be placed out. And in the bottom, we have an abyss modifier. This determines one of 2 outcomes for the demigods in the abyss. And the abyss is the place below here. Now, we can send our demigods down into the abyss, but I will show you this in a bit. And then we have these quest tokens here. Now, if we look at these quest tokens, we can see that there is a red little circle on each of these 4 corners. This means that this is a normal quest. If there would have been a triangle instead, then it would have been a special quest. But we can also see that there are some symbols here around the center. These represent which servant that they are target. Now, as you can see, these here matches this one, meaning that this is the scorpion. Then we have the feather, which Vesper will target. Now, these red ones here, called the Hardries, they target quests that they are directly in touch with. Now, in the center we have a renown icon. This signifies if it is a renown loss or gain for the different demigods in this game, and it is shown in the center of the quest. If it is an omega symbol, it will be a gain of renown, but if it is a sickle symbol, it will be a loss of renown. So now that we know what all of this means, let's take a look at the different actions during a player turn. Because you can actually do 3 different things. And the first thing we're going to look at is to place a demigod on the tiles out on the board. Now, when you place demigods, this will allow the players to send demigods to the abyss, but also assign the end result of the abyss or gain valuable servant tokens that you can use. And when you place the demigods out on these action tiles, well, you place them next to 2 of these quest tiles as well. And this will create opportunities for the servants to send them up and down the renown track, meaning this one that circles the board. And that's pretty much how the gameplay goes on. The players will take turns placing demigods on the different action tiles and doing whatever action that allows them to do. Once we have placed demigods on all the available action tiles, that age will end. But before we look at the end of an age, we should look at what the different action tiles actually does. In this game, we have 5 different action types. The first one is smite. This will let you take a demigod off the board and place them directly into the abyss. If all demigods are on the board, you may not place it here. And the next one is the abyss fate. This one here means that we get to move the abyss marker either to the right or to the left. This means that we will decide the fate of everyone in the abyss by the end of the age. This one here is the penance servant, meaning that you get to take that servant and place it in front of you to use in the future of this age. The other one with the feathers, well, that one will let you take the viper servant, again using it in the future. And the red one here, well, you guessed it, it will let you take the Hardarian servant token, again placing it in front of you and use it in the future of this age. Placing a servant is the main way to affect the renown of demigods. Now once you have one of these tokens, you in a future turn get to place them on an available space circling this little board here. Let me show you how. You could, for example, choose to place the penance servant in this position here. Now the penance servant will target all the scorpion, meaning the dark quest tiles that are placed in a row. Here, for example, this penance servant is facing this row, meaning that they will target these 2 dark quest tiles. Any demigods that are connected to these quests will gain or lose renown, all based on the values displayed on the quests that they are connected to. A single demigod can actually be affected by multiple quests simultaneously, meaning that this demigod here will lose 2 renown. The Vesper, meaning the white servant, will do the same thing, but they will only target the light quest tokens, meaning the ones with a feather surrounding them. And again, if a demigod is in the row that this servant is facing, they will be affected by the quest that they are connected to. Lastly, we have Hardarian servants. Now these servants, they only affect the quest that they directly touch. And it doesn't matter if it's light or dark. Now any demigods connected to this quest will also gain or lose renown based on the value displayed on this quest. Now demigods cannot have more than 14 renown or less than 1 renown. If they would gain more or less when they are on these spaces, well then they would simply stay where they are. So now we have looked at the action tiles, placing a demigod, these little servants here. Now the last thing we should look at is these god powers. Because during your turn you can choose to use one of these god powers. The first one we have here is smite. This will send any demigod to the abyss. And this works in a similar fashion to the smite action out on the board. But there is one difference. The god power smite can send a demigod to the abyss. But they can send any demigod to the abyss, including those who are already placed on an action tile. And once we have used this, we flip the action tile over. And any player may now place a new demigod on this empty action tile. But that player will not get an action. The switch will simply let us switch position of any 2 demigods out on the board. They can be from anywhere, meaning that you can actually also switch from off-board demigods, but also from the abyss itself. The last one here, steal, will let you take any unused servant token from your opponent. And now you can use it in this age instead. Now, all of this sounds great, right? Well, yes, it is. But it comes at a cost. Because once you have used them, well, you need to flip them over and place them in front of you. And they will actually give you a -1 score at the end of the game. Plus, now they are out of the game and you can't use them anymore for the rest of the game. Plus, when you use these, well, that will be your entire turn. Now, once we have placed demigods on all of the available actions out on the board, this age will come to an end. And when an age comes to an end, we need to do two things. We need to first score the demigods that are in the abyss according to wherever this token is. If it is to the left, well, they will probably lose renown. If it is to the right, they will probably gain renown. Then each player needs to tell the other player if any of their demigods fulfills the requirements on the age card by simply saying yes or no. Now, this here will give the opponent a clue as to who your demigods might be. And then we would need to set up the age that we're heading into. But how you do that, well, I will let you figure that out all by yourself. And once we have played through all 3 ages, we have finished the game. And it's time for us to see who have won. The first thing we would need to do is to look at our little sheets here, because on these sheets we have written down which 2 demigods we think belongs to the other player. If we have guessed both demigods correct, we will get 3 points. If we have guessed 1 correct, we won't get any points. And if we have 0 right, well, we will actually lose 1 point. Once we have done that, it's time for us to see where our little demigods markers are out on the board. Because if they are on 2 different spaces on this track, we will score the difference in the renown of the spaces they occupy. Meaning that if one of our little demigods markers are on 5 and the other one is on 7, well, we would score 2 points. But if both of our markers are on the same space out on the track, well, we would score that point. And of course, if we have used any god powers during our gameplay, well, we will lose 1 point. And that, my friend, that was Scales of Fate. Once again, a well-made game from Ivy Studios. I mean, they just make the most beautiful games. But then again, I might be biased, because if you have followed me for a while now, you would know that I am a huge fan of their games. I just think that whatever they do, they're perfectly made, really good quality. They are well thought through as well. I mean, the gameplay is never any questions on what you can or cannot do. It is great, strategic, well-made, beautiful games. So that, my friend, was Scales of Fate. Again, another beautiful, well-made game from Ivy Studios. And I want to state that this is just a prototype. Some things might change, but now at least you know the basics of the game and how to play it. So there you go. If you like this video, well, give me a thumbs up, throw in a comment, whatever you want to do. Maybe subscribe to the channel, I don't know. But most importantly, please remember to keep on spreading that board gaming love I know you all have. Peace out, my friend.